am I to deserve the love you've given me?
From the sweet voices is a voice of Laura Litaba, one that has gone through pain that cannot be understood by another individual apart from herself. This is her journey, a personality that has drawn friends from all over. Hence Marcel Proust's quote, which says, "Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom."
My name is Laura Litaba. I am Kenyan. I'm 25 years old and I live in Rongai. I don't know whether it's considered Nairobi or Kajiado, but yeah. And I stay with my family. I have a dad, mom, and 3 brothers. I'm the firstborn of the 4 of us. We used to stay in Mombasa most of our lives. Then dad and mom got a transfer, so then we had to move to Nairobi, and we've been in Nairobi ever since. So I was born like any normal child, disturbing my mom in the stomach as usual. In fact, she says me and the third one were the most destructive in her stomach and stuff. But anyway, yeah, so I was born in Eldoret. That was before we moved to Mombasa. And when we went to Mombasa, I was pretty much okay. I was fine. I didn't have any ailments, just the usual flu and probably malaria or just the normal things, but nothing extra. So I was diagnosed with ulcers, or I was told I had ulcers when I was 9 years old, and it was because of the stress I think that was happening in school at that time. But I was put on different medicines and put on certain diets, so that's what I had been following for quite a long time, and that's the only ailment per se that I've had till date that I still suffer with. But then when we moved to Nairobi in about 2011, I started developing very severe migraines and I couldn't explain it, so we thought that probably it's related to the ulcers that I had been diagnosed with before. So I'd be given the medicine that I need to take. I'll be done for CT scan, you name it. I'd go even for an endoscopy. They'd say there's nothing we are seeing in the stomach, so we wouldn't really understand what was causing the migraines. But I'd constantly have migraines, and they'd come very like at random times. I could be in school, I could be at home, I could be asleep, that come at that time. So but I learned how to manage them and which medicines to take, so at least I was able to manage that for quite some time. Then in about 2016, at that time I was in college, and I remember we took the long 3 months break, and I decided to come home and just relax as most people do, or do an internship, etc. So while I was at home, I felt a very sharp pain in my chest, and I couldn't explain it at all. So, and it felt almost like a heart attack. But then just to make sure that everything was fine, we went and saw a chest specialist. So she did some tests, blood tests, and they found that she said that I had rheumatoid arthritis. So then she gave me medicine to take and told me, you know, my diet would change, my life would change into different things. So then I had started the medicine and I was taking everything. But still I wasn't getting better. Like what would ordinarily help someone with rheumatoid arthritis wasn't helping. So then one of my aunties, who's a doctor, then said, why don't we go see then a rheumatologist who would then probably tell us what exactly could be happening. So we went. He told us to do again a whole certain number of tests, and they all came out negative, like there was nothing wrong with me according to the tests. But then he was like, just lie on the table, let me press certain parts in your body and you tell me if you feel pain. So like he pressed parts of my shoulder bone, parts of my thigh, and parts of my elbows, and then he just told me, Google this word called fibromyalgia and read about it and tell me if it's something that the symptoms are what you experience. So I said fine. So we came home with mom and we read it, and it explained everything I was going through, things I didn't even realize were part of the condition, but it was everything that I was going through. So we went back to him and told him, yeah, we feel like it is what you say. And that's when he said, yeah, I think you then have a condition called fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a condition that causes a chronic illness that causes widespread pain all over your body, and it affects your joints, your muscles. So for example, for every patient, they have different symptoms with the condition. So for me, the things that I experience are now the migraines that now I explained because of the condition, and I have IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, where either my stomach, one day I have probably loose stool, or I can't pass stool, or like it's just a whole lot of issues. I usually have now back pain, neck pain, joint pain, nerve pain. I have spasms. Sometimes my legs would just, or my body would just start twitching out of nowhere. I have sleep problems. Sometimes I'd get rashes, and all these are considered to be symptoms of the condition. So when I was diagnosed with it in 2016, obviously it was a shocker for me, and I'm like, this thing, I mean, I've handled ulcers most of my life, so I'll definitely be able to handle this. So when school reopened, I went back and continued studying. But then now when it came to about 2017, I now started feeling really ill, and sometimes it would be hard to even just do the simple task of walking to class or even just getting out of bed, and it was hard. So at one point I thought probably I should defer and not continue school for some time as I recover, then probably I'll come back and finish when I get better. But then my parents advised that it's probably just best to continue and just push through the pain, but explain to like the lecturers and the head of departments what was going on with me. So that's what I did, and I was able to at least finish my whole degree, and I graduated last year, 2018. But then now towards the end of last year, 2018, at about in I think October, I started feeling the sharp pain in my chest again. But then as now I look back, I realized I started feeling even the intense symptoms sometime in January, and throughout from 2016 to 2018 the symptoms would come like very intense. They're called flare-ups. So I'd have like a flare-up for like a period of a month, and I'll be fine and I'll go back to normal, or a period of a week and I'm back to normal. But then from the beginning of 2018, I started feeling like slowly I'd be getting ill. Like I'd start having just joint pain while I'm walking in town, or I'd find it hard to wake up in the morning. And then I had gotten a job after I graduated, so sometimes I'd be waking up to get out of bed and it's so hard. So I'm thinking, oh, probably it's just because I'm tired. So I decide for 2 days straight I'll just sleep and rest, but still come Monday morning I'm not able to wake up and go to work. So I'd call in sick very many times. But then now when the sharp pain now increased, I was like, no, now probably I need to go get checked. So I went to hospital and they told me I had pneumonia. Now the challenge with fibromyalgia is it reduces your immunity to like lower than a normal person, a normal healthy person would be. So I've been prone, so that's how come it was easy for me to get something like pneumonia. And I was admitted for about 4 or 5 days, and the rheumatologist who came to see me at that time told me, sadly this might spark a flare up of fibromyalgia, so just take some time, rest, relax. So I thought it would be last probably for like a month or a week at least. But then slowly by slowly I started getting increasingly worse. It was now hard to move around completely. Before I could move but in pain, but now became hard to move. This was sometime in October, November, thereabout. And slowly now I realized even just walking from the bathroom to the sitting room was an issue. So I had to get crutches to now help me move around. And then I realized like my fingers would start aching, so I can't really do much. So someone will have to probably help me cook, or help me clean, or help me wash, and do just the normal things that anyone would be able to do. And because of that now I had to move back home. I had moved out because of work, but then I had to move back home and be helped to do everything. So since then till about now, I've literally been on what you'd call bed rest, but I can move a little bit here and there. But the pain usually is very intense most of the days.
Life can be challenging, but for Laura's family, this was beyond them, bearing in mind that she was born just like any other normal child until when the condition struck. This did not discourage them as a family, but still head on to hope.
My name is Litaba. Laura is my firstborn and the only girl in the family, the only rose among thorns, we say. She was born 25 years ago. I think her zest for life was seen in the fact that by 9 months she took her first step, which was 9 months. She's always been a very vibrant, happy, friendly child. She was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I forget. She says it's 2016. You know, for a mother it can look like forever. But she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia in 2016. It just seems like the doctors can only do so much. Currently she's on, they tried this antidepressant because it's the antidepressants that seem to reduce pain. They try this one, it doesn't work. The next month it doesn't work. The next month we've been trying different things that doesn't seem to work. So I then just started checking online for alternatives, and the magnesium something that she's using for her joints now is one of those things that really seems to have helped her. So it's been about looking all the time. As a mother, you see your child go through so much pain. There's nothing as difficult as, when they are children, a child comes to you and says, "Oh mommy, I've hurt myself here," and you, "Oh sorry, it'll be okay," and they go off, or you give them Panadol and they're okay, or you put them an antibiotic and it's okay. But to watch your daughter month after month after month and there's nothing you can do about it, it really is difficult. I think for me, I have refused to sit in that place where I say it's a permanent condition. The doctors may say so, but a mother's will not, my will not allow me to say that this will be my daughter's condition for life. No, I really believe that as I pray and as I look, I'm sure that God will help us find something. And like I say, the little lotions that she's using for magnesium, the aloe vera tablets that she's using, some other things we are about to try out, it's all the drive in me as a mother to make sure my daughter gets back onto her feet without crutches.
From the time I was diagnosed in 2016, I had been living in denial. I'm like, these are things that probably don't happen to Africans or to me or something, or I'd be able to survive and just move through it. Then last year, now when I felt then very intensely ill, more ill than usual, I thought, this is probably going to last for like a month or at the most 2 months, then I'll be fine. But then the 3rd month kicks in and I'm the same. Come Christmas time, I can't go and hang out with my friends like I normally do. I couldn't just get out of the house and decide I'm going to board a matatu the way I would normally do. I'd have to ask someone to drive me around and stuff. And slowly I started just getting very depressed and very sad, because I'm the type of person who would move around 24/7 and would be either at my friend's place or going out to hang out with a friend, family, or just anyone particularly. But then I just, being in this place where you probably are in your bed from Monday to Monday, leaving the house, you're feeling like you're inconveniencing someone, was a really hard task for me, and I'm still learning how to deal with that. But I remember the day when mom suggested, what if we now probably get crutches to help you move around. I remember I was like, that actually would help me. It didn't even hit me that this is going to be a whole completely different new life for me. But I was like, at least it'll help me move around and I don't need to hold on to anyone particularly. But I remember that week, it just dawned on me, because now when I start moving around, people start staring and asking you, "Oh, Liumia," or "Oh, what happened?" or "Oh, did you have an accident?" And the sad thing about fibromyalgia is it's not, you don't see like a cast on someone, or you don't see someone with a twisted neck or something very crazy. the thing is, it's an invisible disease, so someone will look at you and be like, but you're fine, there's nothing going on with you, but at that time you're feeling a lot of pain. So trying to explain to people that no, this was not an accident, this is a condition I have. Then you say, or they ask you what condition, then when you start explaining, it leads to a whole lot of conversations. And I know every single time when I would start explaining, I just remember, okay, wait, this is actually becoming my life. Like this is now me. Like it's part of me. It's refused to go completely. I've tried to ignore it. It's not going anywhere. I'm here battling it 24/7, 365. So I have good days and I have bad days. In terms of emotionally, physically, almost all days are bad days. My scale of pain is between 7 to about 9. Let me say 6 to about 9 out of 10 on a normal day. So the pain, I'm able to at least go through the day and still feel the pain but be able to do things. But then when it comes to emotionally, there are good days and bad days, and I think I've had more bad days than good days, where I just feel like my friends are continuing with their lives. You know, they are probably getting masters or getting jobs or moving out of their parents' home, which is something I would have loved to do or be in a space or that space right now, but I can't. And simple things like, oh, I'd like to go probably, let's say, to Mombasa. It's not something I can now just wake up and do, which I would have which I used to love doing. And it's things that have been dawning on me every day, and most of the days I feel very bad, feel confused, feel angry at the world, at God, at the doctor for even telling me that I even had that condition. But I've slowly been coming to this place where I'm just realizing being well or being what we call normal isn't probably everyone's life story. You know, everyone has a different journey in life. So probably this is my journey, and God probably wants me to minister through people in this place that I'm in right now. So I won't say I have completely accepted it and I'm at a place where let's say normal just with the pain, but I'm better than where I was 5 months ago or 3 years ago when I was diagnosed. So it's just taking a day at a time, a step at a time, an hour at a time, just to be able to get through the day. So just waking up and being able to go to the washroom is a huge success for me. Being able to shower by myself and get to my bed is a huge success for me. Being able to even just leave the house and be able to walk, let's say, in a mall is even a greater success for me. So it's just taking a day at a time.
I'm Andrew Mhoro, Laura's friend. Met her back in campus in 2014. Funny thing is, she did communication, so she basically majored in communication. But I'm more of a computer science guy. Met her through friends of friends. Laura is a very jovial girl. She has this motherly vibe around her. She tends to be, she's one of those people, it's more of take care of other people, but when it comes to her, it's a bit, her asking for help, it's a bit difficult. But she's a really good friend, that's for sure. When she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, it was really difficult for her to come forth about it, especially her being a very independent person. It was for her, losing that independence was a bit I don't know how I would put it into words, but it was quite difficult for her, basically asking for help. And from then on till now, you can tell that she's still trying to fight asking for help, because sometimes, and it's like one of the worst things when you see one of your really good friends go through so much pain and go through so much, and practically there's nothing you can do to you know, like reduce the pain or take the pain away from her. I think that's been one of the worst experience for me in our friendship. But also in the same, I think we are also learning things I don't know, because it pushes her to a certain limit, and also it pushes some of us as her friends, because now you have to try and figure out, okay, how do I try and help her without coming out as like taking away her independence.
The joy of every parent is to see their children prosper, right from education to their social life. Laura's parents chose to stand by her, hence encouraging her through healing words.
So I actually hadn't told very many people. So the main people who were helping me were my immediate close friends and my family. And I know from day one, especially my mom has just been everywhere, doing everything for me. And I know there are days when I feel like very low and very sad and very depressed, and it's like I'm at this point where I'm just giving up. But she's like, no, you know, we'll find something, we'll keep on researching, you know, we'll keep on trying herbal things, or we'll keep on going to the doctor's place. And both mom and dad have been very supportive. Even my brothers, especially my brothers, helping me move around before I got the crutches, or sometimes even with the crutches it's hard to move, so my brothers would carry me from place to place. And then I'd have friends who come over during the weekend when they're free and just come to hang out with me and visit me. And I think that honestly is what has kept me going the most. But more so, I know it's just God, because if I didn't have God, I don't think there was anything I would have been able to turn to. But I'm truly grateful for family, for friends, for even people I didn't even know I had made an impact in their life, who realized I was ill and were like, oh, you're ill, let me come visit you, and probably just hang out for like 2 or 3 hours with you. And that has been very special for me. So honestly, I'm truly grateful for that support system in my life, because I know for very many people who have this condition, it's not they don't have as much support as I know I have had, and for that I am grateful.
This must have been in December last year when she said, you know, Mom, maybe it's because you're so inquisitive that God has allowed me to be sick, so that if I get well, all these other people in the fibromyalgia group can also get well. And I've hung on to that in a sense, and just look forward to the time that she'll be well again. And I believe it'll be soon. I keep telling her, you know, you're not here for long. You're just here for a month or 2 more, and I'm sure by then we'll have found something. Because people have said AIDS is incurable. You come across people who've been cured of AIDS. People say that cancer is incurable. I've come across people who've been cured of cancer. So what's fibromyalgia? This God who made our bodies and understands them, He can point us. I believe there is a cure. Mad as it may seem, I'm allowed to be mad. Mad as it may seem, I believe there is a cure, and I believe that I will come across it. And my daughter and other people's daughters, because I mean all those other people have mothers who look at their children and think, nothing I can do, you know. Yeah, it's been a difficult work for the family, definitely. But again, you know, God never allows these things for nothing. I keep telling my daughter, you know, whatever lessons you're supposed to learn them well, so that there is no repeating. You know, for your sake, for the sake of your friends, and yeah.
Fibromyalgia is something that is still being discovered. Doctors really can't explain what causes it, and they say that there's really no cure. So it's that's why it's termed as a chronic illness or a chronic disease. And the thing about in Kenya, especially because I'm in this WhatsApp group with like a support fibromyalgia WhatsApp group, and there are people who've had it for 10 years, for 15 years, and it's good hearing their stories, because they tell us, like, those many years ago, doctors will look at you and be like, you're faking, there's nothing going on with you, you're just in your own world. So it's good that at least the let me say the rheumatologists in the country, I'm very grateful that they have gotten to this place where they have actually acknowledged that it's an illness, and that they are helping us the best way they can to be able to manage and move around. But for those who either have just been diagnosed, or for those who don't even know what is causing them all this pain, and they probably have similar symptoms like I have, first of all, I'd ask you to go see a doctor doctor, preferably a rheumatologist, to probably diagnose you, but then also not to live in denial, because the more you live in denial, the sicker you even become, because part of this condition sometimes can be aggravated by stress and by anxiety and all these other things. So accept where you are for now. It's hard, I know. It's not a walk in the park, but one day at a time you'll make it. 1 minute at a time you'll make it. The fact that you're able to wake up every day and still see you here and still see that you're alive means that God has a purpose for you, and that He wants you to do something with your life, even in that state, even on crutches, even being in a wheelchair, even being on that bed where you have not moved out from for the last 5 days. God still has a purpose and a plan for you.
Being passionate about music, Laura really appreciates the fact that her voice is still intact despite the challenge she's undergoing, hence eliminating stress.
I think for me the two things that, or rather let me say the three things that I'm grateful that God has allowed me to still keep during this time. One is my voice, because if I didn't have just being able to talk to my family and friends, or even just anyone about this condition, I know it would have been twice harder on me. So I'm grateful that I still have my voice. I'm grateful that I still have a normal functioning brain. Though sometimes I'd have issues here and there because of something called fibrofog, which is also part of the condition. But then I'm glad that I'm still able to remember things even from when I was young. I'm still able to remember who I'm meeting. I'm still able to have a full conversation with someone, which I'm grateful for. And lastly, I'm grateful for my voice, because from the time I was about 5, I had been singing in church with my family, and throughout my life I have met friends along the way who have either been with them, part of singing groups, or been in worship teams. And I know even now in college I was part of a group called Sing Africa, where I would go doing missions through singing and worshiping. So that's one thing I'm honestly grateful to God that I still have, that even through the pain I'm able to worship, even through the pain I'm able to sing, because for me music is a very key part in my life. It either makes me happy, either makes me sad, either gives me hope, either makes me feel like giving up. And I'm grateful that I'm still able to sing during those times, and those are some of the things that give me strength, some of the things that give me hope.
The presence of people who care around Laura's home has played a big role in their life, hence encouraging her through the journey. Oprah Winfrey quotes, "Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down." And that is exactly what Laura found in her friends.
I'm learning.